With us now from the Israel-Gaza border, NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber. Ellison, do you have any sense when a ground invasion into Gaza may begin and the latest on the ground in Gaza at this hour?
Well, so yeah, that is the big question. When will this begin? A spokesperson for Israel's defense forces today said that they are moving closer to launching this ground offensive into Gaza, but they have been saying that for quite a while now. Just the other day, we heard the defense minister at the Israel-Gaza border speaking to combat troops, telling them, you have seen Gaza from the outside. Soon you will see it from the inside. A spokesperson with the Israeli Prime Minister's office at a press briefing today said that they had moved forward on some of the final preparations and approvals to launch the next phase of war, which will include a ground offensive. But speaking with IDF soldiers in this area, one told us they'd been told 3 times that tonight would be the night on 3 different days for the ground offensive to start, and then it hasn't happened just yet. But what we can tell you is that the equipment, the troops, they are all in a position to launch a ground assault into northern Gaza when that directive is given. We have seen throughout the day today missile strikes coming from Gaza into central and southern Israel, as well as missile strikes and artillery bombardments inside of Gaza. We have new video from our team on the ground in Gaza showing an airstrike that happened this morning. People on the ground there, they say this was an Israeli airstrike. The IDF has not commented yet, but it happened in Gaza City in the area of the Al-Shati refugee camp. At least one home that was struck when that rocket fell had people inside of it, civilians. There's a moment I want to show you of a woman. Her name is Muna. She had come down to the scene as rescuers were pulling debris back, looking for any indication of survivors, and watched as they were searching. She then walked 2 miles to a nearby hospital. And when she got to that hospital, she found out that 9 of her family members had died in the blast. I want you to hear some of the moments, some of the pain when she found that out as she cries out. So in this, at different points, she is crying out, saying, my father, my mother, oh, my God, what do I do now? I have no one left. All my family is gone. They killed them. At one point, she called out asking, what do I do now? The reporting we have from our team inside, that woman, Muna, she lost her mother, her father, as well as some nieces and her brother, and I believe it was a sister-in-law, but she was in just absolute agony, realizing that all of them were gone. She'd been nearby when the missile hit and heard it. She was in a different home, but she knew the home that was hit. That's where her family was. Israel has told anyone living in northern Gaza to evacuate to the south. They say that about 700,000 people have evacuated south so far, and that when they do launch this ground offensive, they plan to focus their efforts, their military might, on Gaza City and northern Gaza, because they say that is where Hamas primarily operates out of. They have said that they do everything they can that is feasibly possible to limit the toll on civilians. They claim that Hamas uses civilians as quote-unquote human shields, and that they often launch rockets from areas where they know civilians will be. But the reality, and we see it in this new footage we're getting from our team inside of Gaza, is that there are a lot of civilians that are impacted by this. And it's not just here and there. It is every day. It is constant. Whole blocks of neighborhoods have been wiped out since this war began on October 7th. At the same time, Alicia, you still have over 200 people who have been abducted and are still held hostage inside of Gaza right now, and families here in Israel desperate for answers, desperately hoping that they might be released like those 2 American Israeli hostages were just yesterday. Alicia?
We're going to be talking about those hostages a little later in the show. That sound from Muna will stay with all of us for a long time. Ellison Barber, as always, thank you.